Your journey is not going to look like somebody else's, but your journey is sustainable, and continue to live it that way. Don't you stop. I've tried many of a diet in my past. Cabbage soup diet, grapefruit diet, just to name two, but there's a list of others. What diets have you been on in the past? I'm pretty sure you can list a bunch in the comments below, but none of those were sustainable. What changed the game for me was changing. I want to thank Darium. Darium is one of our community members, and he asked that I do a video on diet culture versus living a healthy, sustainable life. And that is what my channel is all about. My name is Patrice, The.Patrice.Denise, and I'm over here living a healthy, sustainable life, one day at a time, one step at a time. And thank you for joining this video. So let's just sit down and talk about diet culture versus healthy, sustainable lifestyle. When I looked up the word diet culture, basically what it is that society's norms for how we are to look, how we are to get to that look, and how we think about health and weight management. Many of you know that I am on Mounjaro. I am on the 7.5 milligram dose of Mounjaro. I have been on Mounjaro for over 2 years now, as of December 2024. Prior to Mounjaro, I was on Ozempic, and if you total all that time together, I have been on a GLP-1 for over 4 years now. And I just want to share a little bit about living a healthy, sustainable life versus diet culture. We have to get out of the mindset of being on a diet. Being on a diet, what does that mean? Well, that means restricting yourself. We have the cabbage soup diet. We have the grapefruit diet, the master cleanse. When I was looking up different diets, I even saw one that said cotton ball diet. Do you know that people actually ate cotton balls or eat cotton balls? I don't know if they still do that, but eat cotton balls in order to fill their stomach so that they can eat less. But just think about it. These different fad diets, we go to the extreme to get to where we want to be because of society's norms. We go to the extreme to lose weight in order to please society. None of that is sustainable. Can you actually eat grapefruit you probably can, but eat grapefruit at every single meal, every single day for the rest of your life? Are you able to eat cabbage soup every single day at every single meal for the rest of your life? Even if you restrict yourself from different type of foods, which for certain medical conditions you should, or you are required to. So in those instances, you do have to do that, but are you able to restrict yourself for the rest of your life from different food groups? If you can, then that is great. But if you know you can't, why would you set yourself up to be on this diet, and know that you're not able to sustain it for a lifetime? So in diet culture, it promotes restrictive eating. It promotes rapid weight loss. We know that weight loss typically is about 1 to 2 pounds a week, and that is an average. That's an average. So you are going to have some outliers where you have a high number of weight loss during a week, or you have below that 1 pound of weight loss per week. And that, like I said, that's because 1 to 2 pounds is the average. But on average, you would lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, and that is sustainable. That is what you can do for a long period of time. So diet culture promotes rapid weight loss. It promotes restrictive eating. It promotes doing something very extreme that you cannot sustain for a long period of time. It also promotes all or nothing. I either got to stick with this every single day, or however long that diet is, or it's not going to work. And if I don't stick with it every single day, then I just won't do anything. Diet culture also focus on short-term success because they want that rapid, fast, that microwave society kind of, sort of. So they want things, diet culture promotes wanting it right now. So it's not looking at the broader picture and the long-term goals. Also, diet culture focuses on unrealistic expectations. So I'm going to lose 300 pounds in 6 months. If you did, you may want to speak with your doctor regarding that. But diet culture focuses on unrealistic expectations for yourself. Are you able to work out extensively every single day of your life? if you know you're not going to be able to do that, don't set yourself up for an unrealistic expectation. Diet culture also labels food as good food and bad food. Good food and bad food. I can't have that brownie because it's bad, but I can have this apple. I cannot have those bag of chips, but I can have this avocado. Diet culture puts a bad name to foods, and in that it creates bad relationships with foods. I'm never going on a diet again. Neither should you. Because going on diets causes unneeded stress, mental stress, because we are focusing on rapid results. And if we don't get those rapid results, then we want to quit. We don't want to do anything anymore. I don't want to do this diet. I don't want to eat these foods. I don't want to do this exercise because it's not showing results. If you set up healthy habits that you know you can sustain, then you will be able to do it over a lifetime. Now, like I said, I've been on a GLP-1 for over 4 years now. And throughout this time, using these GLP-1, Ozempic, Mounjaro more so than Ozempic, but using these GLP-1s, it has been able to help me to really use them as a tool within my health goals to look at what habits I can sustain, put in place and sustain and continue to do over my lifetime, because I want this to be a lifetime journey. This is a lifetime journey. So as I use the GLP-1 as a tool to help me to build healthy habits, I have put those habits in place. So for instance, my mindset has changed. I don't think about food as being good food, bad food, or in between. Now, I know that there are foods that I should not eat on a daily basis. I know that there are foods that I should not eat in abundance. And I know that there are foods that I should eat in abundance. And that's the difference. So being that I'm on Mounjaro, you know that I do monitor my blood sugars, and that is the point of me being on Mounjaro, to keep my blood sugars under control. And with that, I know that I cannot have certain foods all the time, because if I do, then my blood sugars will go high. My blood sugars will increase. And in turn, that will increase my A1C. In turn, that will cause health effects and damages to my body. So I'm not going to eat those foods every single day. But on the flip side, I'm not going to restrict myself from them totally and completely. I am a registered nurse care coordinator, and I talk to patients all the time about how they can lower their A1Cs, how they can get control of their blood sugars using the tools that the doctor has prescribed, the medications, as well as lifestyle changes that they can put in place. So what I say to those patients is create a diet. And we're going to use the word diet in a different sense. Instead of using it as a negative connotation, we're going to talk about diet as being just a set of food that you eat on a daily basis, or a set of, or your nutrition, the nutrition that you intake on a daily basis. Your diet, that is your diet. So I tell those people to just look at their diet, look at their nutrition, and make tweaks. Instead of drinking a lot of sugary drinks, then you would want to maybe go to low sugar, or go to no sugar drinks that may have sweeteners in it, and then start introducing more water into your diet. But take it slow so that you can be able to sustain these things. We also talk about lowering our carb intake. So does that mean you cannot have carbs ever again? No, just look at it, lower your carb intake. We talk about increasing our protein. What does that look like? And for many people, in order to keep track of that, they do count their calories. They do look at their macros real closely and keep track of that using like MyFitnessPal or the different food trackers that are out there. And that is a great tool to implement and use as you are embarking on your health journey. But do things that are sustainable for you. So with a healthy, sustainable life, we're going to focus on a diet, nutrition that we can sustain. We can continue to do for the long haul, for the rest of our lives. If you know you cannot restrict yourself for the rest of your life, why do it for the 3 months? Why do it for a month? put these habits in place that you can do for a lifetime. Because if you continue to do it little by little, you're going to see the changes. Stop worrying about the quick fix. Stop worrying about the quick weight loss. Stop worrying about people on the internet. I know you're looking at my video and this is on the internet, but stop looking at their pictures and their, afters. A lot of people, we like to, when we're looking at starting a health journey, we want to say, we say, let me see your after picture. Let me see your before versus in your after picture. Yes, that's good to look at their before and their after because you can see where they came from and where they're at now. But a lot of people just focus on the person's after. But you don't know what it took to get them from there. But we should look at the in between. We can look at the before and the after, but what did it take for them to get to where they're at right now? The journey. How were they able to sustain getting from here to there? So stop focusing on the after. Just focus on the journey. How did they get there? How did you get from A to B? And then sometimes to C and D. But yes, so living a healthy, sustainable life requires you to do things that you can sustain food-wise. Your diet has to be a diet that you can sustain. Exercise. Start out small. Don't jump headfirst in if you know that you cannot continue to do that forever. For me, I started out with walking on my treadmill or outside, and then I gradually increased. And as you know now, many of you know now, I'm starting to run, but I was not able to do that. I was not able to do that before. Gradually increase. If I just jumped into running, I would have quit a long time ago because I knew where I was at that place, I would not be able to sustain it. Do what you can do at that point in that time, at that time, and do what works for you. I keep saying that over. Do what works for you because you have to sustain it. Okay, I'm trying to stay on track. Okay, living a healthy, sustainable life requires mindful thinking, being intentional with your thinking. It really requires you to get to know yourself. A lot of times we are uncomfortable with getting to know ourselves. But when you really take a step back and focus on you, the inner you, the spiritual you, however that looks for you, I'm telling you, it's going to change the game. That is really what changed the game for me, is really focusing on Patrice, focusing on who I am, focusing on what is best for me, focusing on my needs, health-wise, mental, physical. Living a healthy, sustainable life requires you to focus on you, making you a priority. When I finally realized that, that's when things changed. I would, too, look at what society wanted me to do. I would look at what people wanted me to do. I would put myself in a box. Let me out of this box. I would focusing on pleasing others before pleasing myself. But getting to know Patrice, the Patrice.Denise, getting to know me really is what changed the game for me in my health journey, which is crazy because when we're focusing on our weight loss journey, when we're focusing on health, we don't really, the first thing that comes to mind is not your mental state. It's not your spiritual state. But I'm telling you, that is what will change the game for you. It's not in the kitchen. It's not in the kitchen. Yes, with your diet, your nutrition helps you with weight loss. That's 80% of weight loss is your nutrition. But if your mental state and your spiritual state and your mind, your thinking is not in place, positive thinking is not in place, intentional thinking is not in place, reflective thinking is not in place, then it's not going to translate to the kitchen. I'm pointing to the kitchen because my kitchen is that way. But it's not going to translate on your plate in a positive way, because those unhealthy habits will come back in. Those unhealthy habits will start to creep back in, because you're going to fall back to where you were before. You might be able to go on that diet for a little while and lose the weight or how much ever pounds, but can you sustain it when those unhealthy habits come back because of whatever event or whatever trigger comes? Just, unfortunately, that's the real way of seeing it, is if we have a trigger, will that trigger cause us to go back to those unhealthy habits? We got to get our minds in the right place. That is what changed the game for me. That is how I'm able to live a healthy, sustainable life. That is why I don't label foods as good foods and bad foods. Now, sometimes I do tell you, oh, I had this. And that's why you see me on my videos. It's not I eat everything and all in between. Everything and all in between. There may be a what I eat in a day where it's great. And there may be a what I eat in a day when you or people may consider that as not great. But it's a journey. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifetime. One meal is not going to cause me now to stop this journey. In the past, it may have. I might have eaten that slice of pizza and then eaten 5 more slices of pizza because my mindset was not fixated on what is best for me. And then also, the Manjaro helps with that too, right? The Manjaro helps us with our appetite control. And that is why I promote GLP-1s and the use of GLP-1s, because especially with I've had over this week to talk to 2 different people. They were elderly people, not too old. I wouldn't say elderly. They had the misconception of GLP-1s. One was a diabetic, one was, I would say obese, but they had the misconception of a GLP-1 based on the perception that the news, that society, the entertainment areas have put on GLP-1s. The diabetic, this could change her life, being on GLP-1. It will help her with her eating. It will help her with controlling her eating. It will help her with her blood sugars. But because she saw in the news that these side effects can happen, or this can happen, and this is what happens, and it's just portrayed in a bad light, she didn't want to get on the medication. The other person, like I said, was obese. And again, oh my gosh, the side effects. What about this? What about that? We have to learn to do our research and be an advocate for ourselves, or we're not going to get past what society says. Who cares what society says? I am so glad I am not in the mindset that I was before. I am so glad I'm not in that space any longer. I could care less what society says. What is best for me? That's what I say. And that's what I'm going to do. But using a GLP-1 as a tool as you're living a healthy, sustainable life has been a game changer for me as well. It, like I said, I'm on the 7.5 milligram dose of Manjaro, and it does help with my overall appetite control. And while it is helping with my appetite control, my blood sugars, I am able to make healthy choices. I am able to put in healthy habits. I am able to take the time out to put in those healthy habits with my food choices, with my exercise and my movement, with not being always thinking about food and what I'm going to have in my next meal. So that's where, like I said, this GLP-1s, use them as a tool, because if for some reason we are no longer able to be on the GLP-1, we want to have those habits in place, and sustainable habits in place where we can continue to live them for a lifestyle. So habits that I would say that you may want to instill in your journey, tracking your food, if that works for you. getting in your water intake, looking at your food, meal planning, meal prepping, exercising 30 minutes a day, doing what works for you in this particular time of your life. With the caveat that it can change. 3 months from now, you might need to tweak your exercise and do something different because of something that's going on in your life. You might need to look at your meals and have different types of food because of what's going on in your life. But do what works for you that you can sustain during that period. Don't worry about what others are doing. Don't focus on what society says you have to do. Don't focus on putting yourself in a box because that's what everybody else is doing. Do what works for you. We have a lot of different content creators that are in this GLP-1 community, and I love each and every one of them. But as you know, our experiences, our daily day-to-day lives are all different. Our bodies, inside and out, are all different. Our family setups, our everyday living is all different. So use what we do, but if it doesn't work for you, don't force it. Don't force it on yourself because, again, you won't be able to sustain it. You won't be able to continue to do it, and then you don't want that to interfere with your success. So even for myself, if you're not into running, don't do that. Don't do it. Do what works for you. And break free from the idea of restrictions. Again, if for health reasons you do have to restrict yourself from certain foods, definitely do that. Because I always tell you, follow the plan of care that your doctor has in place for you. But if you're restricting yourself because of what society says, and you know that's not something that you can sustain, don't do it. I'm being real with y'all guys here. This is a lifetime journey, and we cannot live our lives based on what others have said. And I also want you to realize that slow and steady wins the race. It's okay. It's okay if you're only losing that 1 pound a week. Because guess what? 1 pound a week for 52 weeks is 52 pounds. 1 pound a week for 2 years, 104 pounds. Whoa. 1 pound a week for however long you do the multiplication, and that will be how much weight you lose. And then once you get to that goal, set realistic goals. And once you get to that goal, then guess what? Now you have those habits in place where you can sustain this lifestyle and you can maintain your weight. Over the past year, I have been able to maintain my weight. Now, from January of 2024 up until now, which is December 2024, I have been no higher than 166. I have been able to maintain between 160 and I would say 170. I haven't really been over 166, but I have been able to sustain in that 10 pound range. In that 10 pound range. Now, when I know that when I got on the scale and I noticed that I was like going higher than where I wanted to be, okay, I have those habits in place. Now we need to tweak it and fine tune it and get back into where we want to be. But I know that I can do it because I have those habits. So do what works best for you. Live a healthy, sustainable life. Put healthy habits in place that you can sustain, and you will be successful. And as you continue on your GLP-1 journey or on your health journey in general, I want us to move from the diet culture way of thinking to a way of thinking that is sustainable, that is healthy, that has balance, self-compassion, grace, love, and overall care for yourself. So, ditch the diet. We're not going on diets anymore. We're just living healthy, sustainable lives. No more dieting for us. Use the word diet as what it's for, a set of food that you eat on a normal basis. That's what we're going to say. When we say we're going on a diet, we're just eating the food that we eat on a normal basis. I hope this helps somebody in some type of way to know that you can do this. You may be moving a little bit slower than someone else. Your journey is not going to look like somebody else's, but your journey is sustainable, and continue to live it that way. Don't you stop. Don't you compare. Don't you think that you can't do it because yours does not look like somebody else's. Live your life healthy, sustainable, one day at a time, one step at a time. I love you guys, and until the next video, God bless.